And this week's quote comes from one of my favorite and the wisest people on the face of the planet, Anonymous. Um, Anonymous said this one time: "Start facing your problems head on. It isn't your problems that define you, but how you react to them and recover from them." I love that. And it's one of those things, Mike, I sort of try to live by a lot of the
Mhm.
times. It's, it's not the things that happen to us, but it's how we deal with them. In other words, that really do define us as human beings.
Absolutely, Matt. We've talked about that on our show many times before. When you respond to something that is positive, when you react to something typically negative, right? Think of a reaction to a medication that you take that gives you hives, right? Nobody wants those. But I think this quote is all about taking control of life, especially when things get tough. All right. When it comes to preparing for retirement, this means being proactive and not ignoring all of the challenges out there, like figuring out how you're going to live comfortably once you stop working. It's not about the problems themselves, like rising cost of living or unpredictable markets. All right. But it's in fact how you tackle them and actually bounce back that really, really matters. Now, having a 401k or a little money stashed away in a savings account is phenomenal. But here's the thing, okay? It's like bringing snacks to a potluck and thinking that you've catered the entire meal. Okay. Sure. Those snacks that you brought, whether it's a 401k or maybe you got some money in CDs, stocks, or mutual funds, that's a great start. But a real feast, just like a comprehensive financial plan, needs a lot more ingredients. So a solid retirement plan should cover all of your bases: how you'll manage your healthcare costs, what your different income streams will look like, and how you'll handle those unexpected expenses once life throws that curveball at you. And just having a few bucks in different places does not guarantee that you're going to enjoy your golden years stress-free. Think of those individual savings vehicles like your appetizers, right? They're tasty, but they are not the whole dinner. You need the full spread. You need an income strategy. You need to be preparing for taxes in retirement. You need to consider different estate planning needs and a whole lot more, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? You shall not live on bread alone. It's kind of like that sort of a thing, right? It's like, you've got to have the full gamut of everything that you need. And yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if you just eat snacks the rest of your life, if we're gonna, stick with the whole meal metaphor here, if you just eat snacks the rest of your life, that's not probably not the healthiest thing to do, right? And you're not going to be getting all of the nutrition that you need to be as healthy as you need to be. Same
Right.
goes with your finances. You've got to have that well-rounded diet, those full meals with all of the things that you need to get all the nutrition that you need. And this is why dietitians and people who counsel people on what to eat and all of that. This is why they exist, because in America a lot of times we do, sure, a Snickers bar tastes great, but it is not all of the nutrition that you need for your life.
No doubt. I need a nutritionist and a dietitian on my team for sure, because, this boy likes to eat. But, in context of his quote, I want to break it down. When I say his, Mr. Anonymous, I want to break the quote down, focusing on how to build a real retirement plan beyond just having a few accounts here and there. Now, this past week, I told you I was digging out. I actually had 3 different people contact me and explain to me that they were so far behind. And yes, they had pieces of the puzzle, but it was not a complete financial plan. One person had a 401k, another one had a thrift savings plan, another one had an ESOP, which is when the actual shareholders own the company and they do a participation plan there. And it was good that they realized that they had a problem. It's like the first step in Alcoholics Anonymous, right? The first step is admitting that you have a problem. So, the first step here is facing those problems head on. When it comes to retirement, burying your head in the sand won't help you. Okay. The challenge is like wondering if you're going to outlive your savings or how you're going to have to deal with those rising healthcare costs, those aren't going to just disappear because you ignore them. All right. Facing these issues head on means proactively planning for them, not hopingly they'll magically sort themselves out once you turn 65. Okay. It's not enough to say, hey, well, I got a 401k, so I'm set, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's like, you've got to have more than that. That's a good start and a good part of what can be a comprehensive plan for your future. And obviously, we don't want to, saying that or being misinterpreted as saying that, oh, well, 401ks are bad or anything like that. They're great, they're wonderful, but
Sure.
it's just part of the overall picture.
Yeah, and it's not just about the problem itself. The real key is how you respond to those concerns, okay? Reacting wisely means that you're willing to educate yourself. You want to seek professional guidance, and then really understanding that you have to adjust as needed, because just as I mentioned before, life is going to throw curveballs, those unforeseen expenses, those market downturns, inflation. Well, you are going to have to improvise, adapt, and overcome. The more flexible that you're prepared to be, the better you're going to weather those financial storms. And your retirement success will depend less on how big the problems are and more on how you tackle them.
Yeah. And, talking about, like, say, a 401k, for example, like as you sort of teed up a second ago, or even a savings account, for example, if you've got, money that you've just been kind of putting away in a savings account for a long time, those are, again, great things to have. But again, just part of the plan, really just kind of the first step in having something that's a lot more comprehensive.
100%. Let's be real, folks. Having a 401k or a savings account or stocks or mutual funds or real estate, that's a great start. But it's like owning a really good hammer if you're starting to build a house, okay? Just because you have a hammer doesn't mean the house is going to build itself. A 401k is just one tool in your retirement toolbox, and it will not cover everything. You're going to have a comprehensive plan that looks at the big picture. And here's where those tools might fit in, right? So the 401k is a great way for sure to save, but it's likely tied up in stocks or mutual funds or equities, meaning that its value can go up and it can go down with the market. Plus, there are limits on how much you can withdraw. And then once you do withdraw them, guess what you're going to have to do? Pay the piper. Who's the piper? Uncle Sam. What do you have to pay him? Taxes, right? Unless you're in a Roth 401k. And certain companies do offer them and a lot do not. So, those things are things that you have to consider. And let's look at savings accounts and CDs. People like them because they are safe, right? But generally, they offer extremely low returns. Those types of accounts are great for short-term needs, but then inflation can eat into their value over time. And like I just mentioned with your 401k, stocks and mutual funds have higher potential for growth, but also come with a lot more risk. So what if the market drops right when you are going to need the money, right? So while all of those individual pieces are good to have, they do not cover everything. And things like, what if you face high medical bills? What if your kids or your grandkids need help? Or what if you just want to travel, right? You may need to be thinking long term and start to diversify your overall plan.
Yeah, I mean, go from just having the snacks to the full buffet here, right? I mean, it's you need to be diversified. You need these different types of accounts and different options to have this comprehensive plan. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that big full feast, the big buffet of things that go into this comprehensive plan.
Yeah, no doubt. So the first thing I want to talk about is the different income streams, right? Besides your 401k and besides Social Security, are you going to have other income sources like a pension, like an annuity? Do you own real estate that's going to, pay you passive income? You're going to need to figure out how to replace your paycheck once you stop working. And here's a newsflash, folks. Typically, your 401k and your Social Security are not going to do that, right? So that's one thing, income streams. The other thing is healthcare planning. That includes long-term care. Okay. Healthcare expenses will skyrocket in retirement. And you need to budget for those Medicare costs, maybe some supplemental insurance and potentially long-term care insurance like nursing home or assisted living, because people are living longer, which means a longer retirement, which means your money has to last longer. And so a healthcare plan must be a key component of your overall retirement strategy. We mentioned a few minutes ago paying the piper, right? Different accounts have different tax treatments. Okay. Some accounts, like a Roth IRA, allow you to actually take tax-free withdrawals, while others, like most 401k, 403b, and TSP accounts, are fully taxable as ordinary income when you go to pull that money out. So you're going to need a strategy for when to withdraw from each account in order to minimize your tax hit in retirement.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about and a lot that goes into it. And of course, there's even more that goes into it. But I wanted to take this moment to say, folks, if you are hearing all of these things that you have to take into consideration, and you are like, oh my gosh, just sounds overwhelming. It can be, but it doesn't have to be, right? You can get help from a professional like Mike Zeno. He is the one that I would recommend that you reach out to, and you can do that at moneymatterswithmike.com. Moneymatterswithmike.com is the website. You can also call Mike at 704-560-1573. That initial consultation is free of any cost or any obligation. You're only going to work together if you decide that it is best mutually, right? It's a two-way street here. And, there is a whole lot that goes into it, and just giving people peace of mind and taking a lot of stress off the table for them. I know, Mike, that is really what gets you going every morning when the alarm clock goes off and you wake up.
Matt, it's literally why I do what I do. I made every financial mistake in the book because I didn't have the greatest examples of how to treat money. Okay. And so once I figured out that I was in trouble, I made a commitment to myself to learn everything that there was about it and to help as many people as I could not make the same mistakes that I made. Right. So that's why I do what I do. But you said there were more things, and there are, and I do want to hit on a few of those, because a comprehensive plan includes things like estate planning. You have to decide who gets what once you're gone, right? It's more than just a will, and it involves making sure that your assets are passed on efficiently and with the least possible tax burden for your heirs. And folks, we have folks on our team that are very well versed in estate protection. Okay. What about that nasty silent tax that we've talked about time and time again, especially over the past few years, called inflation? Guess what? Your money today will not have the same purchasing power in 5, 10, 15, or 20 years from now. So a good plan needs to account for inflation so your savings do not shrink over time. And then we always talk about the fact that life happens, even in retirement. So whether it's home repairs, health issues, family emergencies, you are going to need to have a cushion, an emergency fund, all right, to help handle those unexpected costs so that you're not having to pull from your retirement accounts. And then retirement just isn't all about money. Okay. What do you want your life to look like when you are no longer working? Are you traveling? What hobbies do you want? How much time do you want to spend with family? But guess what? All right. All of that costs money unless you're just going to be sitting on the couch or on the front porch talking with family members. And your plan should reflect the kind of lifestyle that you hope to enjoy in retirement.